Hello, and thank you for tuning into the Stuff I Heard podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Peak, and we are in some strange times right now. Really strange times. Yesterday, there was an assassination attempt on former President Trump. Um, the 13th of July, 2024. I was with my wife. We were getting ready to have dinner, and all of a sudden, I started hearing people call and text and did you see what happened? Did you see what happened? I was like, what? And I opened up Facebook because I thought, I got a lot of friends who talk political stuff on Facebook, which is why I'm usually not doing much on Facebook. But I didn't see anything there, and I was like, huh, okay, this must have just happened. And I thought, where do I find my news sources of things that just happened? Ah, Twitter, because Elon's all about free speech. Um, Facebook is notorious for not wanting people to talk about anything that's going to make anybody upset. And Elon's all about free speech. So I clicked on Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, now known as X, and I clicked on news stories. And the first thing that came up was footage and information about what happened. And of course, they didn't have a lot of information at the time. All they knew was that there was an attempt made on the former president's life. And you could see images of him when sounds of gunshots, him ducking behind the podium with Secret Service all around him, protecting him with their lives, because that's what they're trained to do. And then you hear reports that um, three of the attendees of the rally were hurt. One of them died. The shooter was killed by a sniper that was in the area protecting. And that's, I mean, so it's awful. Okay. Um, what's really interesting is the conversations that happen afterwards. So this thing happens, right? This attempt on President Trump, um, where he shot, and you learn from listening to people about the fact that the bullet grazed his ear, his right ear. He says his right ear looked like on the thing it was his right ear, but um, he gets up and sort of defiantly, like pumps his fist to the crowd and is wording the mouth, fight, 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 fight. And I can't imagine the adrenaline that goes through your body um, when you get shot like that. I mean, you're up there doing a public speech, you're trying to be elected, reelected. Um, you're in the mindset of trying to, pump up the crowd, the people who support you. And here's this person comes in and tries to unalive you, which is, a whole other thing. The aftermath, though, is the conversations of number one, was it real? I've heard that conversation. Was it real? Was it staged? Was it planned? All these conversations people are starting to have um, is, I guess, testimony to the fact that we've seen too many examples of false flags happen. We've seen too many examples of instances where emotions are tied up into an event, and we learn later that it was all staged by our government to make us respond a certain way. Um, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about the different ways this could be real or not real. Okay. Because I don't know. I'm just a person watching it on TV just like you are, right? So let's think rationally for a second. Okay. You got a person. Let's just say it's real. Okay. Let's just say there's a guy. He really wanted to end Trump's life, and he thought, I'm gonna take my chance now. Now they've already identified the guy, and you can't go on every news source to find out because there's different people making false claims that it was this person or that person. Typically, I've found that the truth usually comes out from overseas. Uh, People like the AP, the British BBC, Al Jazeera Network, find different resources that have information because oftentimes here in America, everyone's really quick to want to have the answers. Even if they don't have the answers, they'll just publish whatever because they've done that time and time again just to get the clicks. And then they've been wrong, and it's too late because people have a mindset then and a theory, and they spiral out of control with their own ideas of who this person is. Because even watching it on television, I'm in a room full of people and I hear things said like, well, it just proves Democrats aren't good shots because they don't believe in gun control, or they only believe in gun control. They don't believe in hitting your target or stuff like that. I mean, maybe it came out of my mouth. I don't know. Something. There's a lot of things said. But they found the guy. Um, they had no identification on him. They had to look at dental records, and according to the BBC, he was identified. AP BBC. He was identified as a guy who had was a registered Republican. Um, he had donated $15 to the liberal campaign group in 2021. Um, yeah, I don't want to say his name because I could be wrong. Look, I'm looking at this on BBC right now from the AP poll, and yeah, I could be wrong. But anyway, that's who they think did it. Okay, that's big, according to DNA or dental records. Dental records, that's what it was. Identified him through dental records. So this happened in Pennsylvania, Butler, Pennsylvania. And if it's somebody who, for whatever reason, decided, all right, I'm going to take out President Trump because I don't like what he says. Okay. They had a plan. They had to have like mapped it out and decided, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to set it up. Um, I'm looking at this with an interesting point of view. I'm looking at the crowd behind him, and a lot of them aren't reacting. And some of them were interviewed later, and they said, I thought it was fireworks. I didn't know there was actually a shooter. I thought this was something they'd planned. um, but my question is, who do you decide sits behind the president in an event like this? Like, if you're doing a campaign speech and you want people behind you, do you pick random people from the crowd who just look like they're your patriotic followers, or do you have actors behind you um, who look like they're passionate about you? Or do you literally have like a campaign fund group, and the people who raised money for you, you go, hey, would you like to be in the crowd behind? I don't know. I don't know how this works. I'm just a person just like you are, trying to understand what's happening. It is a little weird seeing some of these people who don't move a muscle while all of this goes on. They're just standing there smiling. Like, man, I can't believe this. I actually stand right here, man. Look at this. Oh my God. There's a lot of people ducking, a lot of people running out, a lot of people trying to find out what's going on. But there's certain people that they look at in the background that don't move. They're just like have this look on their face, like, wow, cool. It all worked. It all happened. It all did the thing like they said it would. I mean, I don't know. It's a little suspicious. But also people panic different, right? Some people freeze, some people run, some people have the training that when things happen, they react and run towards the danger to try to save other people. There's a little bit of all that going on. But, who are these people, right? Um, three are injured, two are critical, one passed away, just spectators, people in the crowd. That's unfortunate. Um, but what was this guy's motivation? What did he think he was going to do? Like, did he just feel so passionately that uh, if I take out Trump, then I'll be looked at as a hero, and Biden will just definitely be the president? I mean, is there anybody that believes Biden is cognizant of what he's doing right now? I mean, he was just on the podium recently talking about his vice president Trump and how excited he was that he was the guy. Biden's out of his mind. Dementia is setting in really hard, and we're seeing examples of that. Um, okay, so let's just say all of this is just one guy on a mission, and he thought, I'm going to do the thing that I think is right. I'm going to do whatever is necessary. I'm going to take matters into my own hands. Um, Planned it out, set it up, took his shot. He died. He achieved the goal of at least nicking him on the ear, but didn't kill him. Okay, so why? Why is a big question, right? Because why could lead to a whole bunch of things. And here's the interesting thing: is information is going to come out And the why is going to get, I think, a little more crazy than normal because I think they're going to find this guy's house and he's going to have a manifesto and talk about his feelings and how he thinks he's doing the right thing because of blah, blah, blah. Who knows? Right. But on the surface, what you see is former President Trump on a rally gets shot. As soon as he can stand up, he does, and he looks to the crowd and he pumps his fist in the air with blood on his face, and he's okay. And the immediate feeling that everyone has is, there you go. And now he's going to be president because of that incident. Okay, so let's go down the theory of what if this is fake? Like, what if this was planned? Because now there's people on all over social media going, this was staged. This is what I know because of this, because of that. And listen, everybody likes to think they have a good beat on the situation, right? There's people out there saying that, oh no, it was staged because I used to protect dignitaries and I'd never let the person that I was protecting get, above me in the crowd and throw their fist in the air and possibly be at more danger. Okay, sure. That's one thought. Also, Trump's kind of a big guy, and I don't know if you've heard him speak or whatever. He's kind of charismatic. Um, if you know that the assailant is down and this big guy wants to raise his fist in the air in defiance, I mean, they're clearly trying to stop him, but he's like, I'm gonna throw my fist in the air and let them know they didn't get me. Okay, if you're the guy protecting him, wouldn't you allow that a little bit? I mean, come on, you're doing the math real quickly. You go, okay, sure, do it, sir. Okay, so that's, you know, one theory is that it was all staged, that the blood wasn't real. I heard this last night as I was trying to do some research. The blood wasn't real. We heard the shots. He hit the ground, and there was blood. Did they smear something on him? Is this all a thing to make him look stronger and blah blah blah? And, okay, that's one theory. Uh, but why would you? Why would you pick someone to uh, shoot at the crowd, injure people, and you get injured in the process? I mean, that's listen. I know there's been crazier things done in the name of politics, but I can't buy into that. Uh, yeah. So you're gonna hear a lot of things. You're gonna hear a lot of crazy stories, and I encourage everyone, including myself, to continue to pay attention. Find more than one resource for the news. Don't take for granted the first thing you hear and run with it and start spreading it. Um, it is important to get the right information. So um, I hate that people were injured. I hate that it's happened. Um, you know, they're gonna. There's some people that are like, "Yep, that's it. They're coming for our guns next." I'm like, "No, they're not. Just shut up." This is exactly why the Second Amendment is there, um, to protect ourselves from enemies, foreign and domestic. And if this individual thought that Trump was the enemy, okay, well, that's definitely the opinion of a lot of people. There's a lot of people that believe that Biden is the enemy of the people. There's a lot of people, including myself, that believe that no one in power right now is really working towards our best interests. We have a representative government that are only interested in representing themselves, serving their own self interests. We have very few people that are for the people, by the people. We elect, or supposedly elect, individuals based on their characteristics that we think are going to be best for us. And we see time and time again where that's not the example. If anything, I would think that this should show a reflection of our current state of mind and how we all feel disillusioned from the people that are running for power. This is the weirdest population contest that there is, where you try to be the most popular and immediately get blamed for everything that you say and do. Um, you want to have the most people vote for you, and yet once you're there, your only goal is to keep being there. I mean, I don't know. Strange times, very strange times. I often wonder what my grandparents would say about situations like this. All right, let's switch gears. This is the Stuff I Heard podcast. I want to talk about something a little different. Um, so the show The Bear came out this past season. Season 3 came out on Hulu. Um, I watched it very quickly over the past week. I've watched it, and I gotta say, season 2 won a lot of awards for a great reason. Season 3, I told my wife, wasn't as good, but season 3 to me is a setup season for season 4. Um, Most of these shows I've learned from listening to podcasts, listening to writers be interviewed, they're sold in a package. The first season is meant to capture you really hard. The second season is usually a setup. Third and fourth season is usually going to be your big ending, your big finale. So season 3 ends on a to be continued, which means season 3 and 4 were sold together. They had a pilot, they had that outline for what they wanted to do, and then they had a plane landing moment. So probably all of the writers are contracted for 4 seasons. All of the actors are contracted for 4 seasons. If they hit a home run with season 4, you're probably going to see a change because some writers will naturally leave because they're only there for their contract. Some ideas are going to be completely sussed out. So some of the actors will leave, some of the writing will change because you'll bring in different writers and different actors, and you'll change where the story goes, or they'll just wrap it up with 4 and then they're done, which would be perfect. And I don't know what they're going to do. Right now, they're riding the biscuit train with gravy wheels. Um, the season 3 is great. Okay, it has its own merits to it that I think are really important. After watching, I'll break it down for you. After watching season 1 of season 3, episode 1, it's called Tomorrow. Basically, it's after Carmi gets out of the freezer. He has to make amends with himself, and he's remembering a lot of his training coming up being a chef and trying to create some type of order and some type of rules to his life to better attack the next thing that's coming up. So I thought that the first episode was done like a music video. There's a lot of music playing. Some of it's very dark and ominous because he is fighting this dread inside of him where he kind of feels like his relationship and his happiness got in the way of his perfection and what he wanted to achieve with the restaurant. He feels like he let his brother down. Um, their last name in the show uh, is broken down so that Bear was what everybody called each other. Their last name Barkowski, Bearkowski. So I think it was Bearkowski. Is that what it's called? I read that somewhere. Anyway, whatever. I'm probably wrong. Um, but yeah, it was an affectionate name. His brother committed suicide after drug abuse and money problems. And, he finds this money left over that his brother hid in cans and in buckets. And they reimagined this restaurant. And Carmi feels like a great responsibility to do right by his brother. When everything falls apart on opening night of them having this restaurant, kicking off, he feels like he let everybody down, but most importantly, he let his brother down. So season 3 is really about him kicking his own butt, and he distances himself from his love interest, which he hates because he loves her. Um, he feels like he doesn't deserve to be happy. He has this mental problem where through training and through repetition, he's gotten this habit of perfection. And you get to see the chef, played by Joe McHale. Great performance by him, just being a berating boss, pushing him to the limit. Reminded me a lot of the drummer movie Crash, where J.K. Simmons was the drum instructor, the jazz instructor, teaching the young fella how to push himself really hard to be the best jazz drummer the world has ever known. And much like that, I mean, when you're in this type of mentality of being a being the person who pushes someone to be their best self. At a certain point, there is a um, mental illness that's included into it. And Joe McHale pushes Carmy to the point that he does have mental illness from this. Um, it's ruined his life in a lot of ways, but it's also made him one of the best chefs in the world. And there's a lot of similarity to that, to things that you see in life. It mirrors life a lot with excellence. Um, for me personally, I look at people like, Michael Jordan, who for me was one of the best basketball players to ever play. He kind of set the bar for a standard of excellence and a drive that can be unmatched, where most people would take a playoff. He never took a playoff. He never stopped. His motor just pushed himself to constantly want to win. And with that comes a little bit of mental illness. You know, he, he's I've never seen a interview where someone's like, I really liked playing with Mike because he was such a nice guy. Nope. He was not a nice guy. I don't know if he's a nice guy now, but yeah, his drive came from just people constantly pushing him to push past his limits of what he um, would be comfortable with. And from that came success. And once you have success being a crazy person, it's hard to go back to just being a normal person because you're like, wait, crazy worked for me. I just need to be crazier. And you get to see Carmi go through this. The first episode is just, like I said, a music video of him going through the motions and learning the stuff about himself and trying to go to the next step, which rolls right into to episode 2, which is called Next. And he sets standards for himself, for his staff, um, and in a way pushes everyone away from him in the process, pushes them all to sort of resent him, um, except for Marcus. He's got a he's got a dessert chef named Marcus, who has the same drive to be the best. He has a creative element that is um, just inspiring, and he responds to this pressure as well. And he tells Carmi, he says, "Take me to the next level. I'm ready." And the season starts off, with his mom passing away. It happened in season 2, but going through that with Marcus and seeing how it sort of affected him and affected those around him. And, there is the financial overtone of the show where their uncle, who is funding most of this, is berating him about the prices of things and how you can't, what is this stuff? This is ridiculous. You're spending too much money. You gotta have a set schedule. And Carmi's like, no, if you want to be the best, you gotta have this. And so there's a lot of comedy in the conversations about this. And, you know, the uncle feels, I guess, responsible in a way for these kids. He he has mafia ties, but he also is bleeding money, hemorrhaging money to Carmi and the kitchen, and he needs something to pay off because it sounds like he's in trouble now. Um, if you fast forward, episode 6 was actually um, directed by the one of the actors on the show. I can't remember her name. I'm blanking on names today. Sorry. But anyway, she's going to win an award for this episode. It's a really good episode. Um, yeah, just watch the show. Um, their their sister Sugar has her baby, and there is a episode with Jamie Lee Curtis as their mom, and she's really kind of embraced just letting her body age naturally. Which I had heard that she had had some plastic surgery after she had done True Lies, and she had made a comment. She's like, "I'm done with plastic surgery. Um, I did this to my body, and I'm done. I'm going to let the rest of it happen naturally." And I think it's made her a better actress. When she was on season 2, her episode, "The Feast of the Seven Fishes," was amazing and won her an award, as it should. Um, in this episode where her daughter is having a baby and she comes into the scene, there's a lot of the two of them acting where you forget you're watching actors. To me, that is the element that ends up winning you awards. Um, but yeah, final episode of the season, episode 10. There is they call it a funeral. It's the end of a restaurant. One of the chefs who inspired a lot of these other chefs is retiring and she wants to close the restaurant. But she has one final meal where they all get to sit together. Some of the top chefs in the area that influenced each other through her all sit down and have a meal together where they've all prepared a little something or they've all had a hand in something and they eat. And in the conversations, there's a lot of understood um, respect for each other in their own rights for the things that they're able to accomplish. There's a lot of boiling down the conversations from the chef closing the restaurant where she's like, I just want to relax. I just want to enjoy a meal and not worry about it. And, you know, it's a very touching moment. But meanwhile, Carmy is losing his mind because Joe McHale's character, the chef who berated him and punished him to the point of perfection, is at this event. And Carmy gets his moment to tell him everything, to tell him how pissed off he was at him and how mentally ill he's made him. And Joe McHale's response is, You're welcome. You were a good chef. You wanted to be the best. I made you the best. So you're welcome. This is what it cost. It cost you your mental sanity. So you're welcome. And he walked away, as he should. So, yeah, I guess the lesson in that is be careful what you wish for. Anyway, The Bear, great writing, great acting, incredible show. All right. So I'm going to switch gears again and tell you about some stuff I heard. My wife, you guys have met her on the podcast, Dolores. She she says, check this out. And she starts showing me TikTok videos of this stuff called Birria bombs. Now, has anybody ever heard of Birria bombs? And I may be pronouncing it wrong. I think you're supposed to roll your R's. Birria bombs. Birria bombs. Birria. Rup, rup. Anyway, Birria bombs. They're these little seasoned bomb things that look like bath bombs, but they're seasoning all compacted into this little ball. And supposedly the theory was, all you got to do is get these little spice balls. You put them in a crock pot with some meat and some water, and you just cook it, and it's so good. Oh my god, it's so easy and so good. Oh yeah. All right, that sounds pretty basic, right? Yeah, people are making tacos out of them, and we watched some videos of people like taking out the taco shells and dipping it in the sauce, and then putting it on a flat griddle and like making the outside kind of crispy while they're making the taco. They shove the meat in there and then they kind of crisp them on both sides and a little bit of cheese, a little bit of whatever. And I'm like, okay, I'm liking this. I'm liking all of this. So she bought them. She went on the TikTok shop and she bought some, got them to the house and told our friends, listen, we're going to have a dinner. This is what we're going to do. We're going to cook these things. It's going to be great. We had them last night. I'm not joking you. I told my wife, I said, man, if you'd have cooked these on our first date, I'd have married you sooner. I said, this is stupid good. They were easy. I want to say I'm looking online right now at the birria bombs. They're a little pricey, you know. If you get them from the TikTok shop, they're $16.99 for two balls. Uh, there's others that you can buy, possibly a little cheaper. Um, the original birria bomb, $15 for one. I don't think you need to buy that one, but anyway, they're a little pricey, but they're good. We've um, we had a crazy series of events happen yesterday. My stepdad had a stroke like event. We don't know if it's a stroke yet. We're still finding out information. He's in the hospital right now in Colombia, and thoughts and prayers are greatly appreciated for this. Um, we were we found out about it yesterday, so I drove my mom to Colombia to see him. We didn't know what we were getting into, but she had somebody there that was giving her information. He's okay right now. They're holding him overnight to do an MRI today because he has a pacemaker. They have to call in a specialist. So we'll find out more information as we go. But while I was down the way down driving, my wife calls and says that, hey, I'm at the store, getting the meat ready, and I'm going to cook this stuff. And what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And so, my mom's asking me, so what are you having for dinner? So I started telling her about it, and she was like, oh, that sounds pretty good. It was good. But yeah, so we're gonna find out what happens, I guess, today with my stepdad. So keep Dan in your thoughts, and I hope everything goes okay. So that's it. I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm done talking. Just realized my brain is meandering to crazy thoughts. So um, yeah, let's watch what's happening politically. Let's get informed opinions and information from more than one resource, not just Fox, not just CNN, not just AP. Look at other places. See what's out there. Um, I think this definitely is going to guarantee that Trump is our next president. It's a lot of free press. I was just thinking, what would they say on Game of Thrones? Or not Game of Thrones, House of Cards. It's a lot of free press. Um, yeah. All right. Y'all take care. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. And as always, cue the cow.
Cue the cow. Moo, baby.